Welcome to ADHD Whiskey. My name is Matt, and these are 17 whiskeys that I'll be hunting after judging the Ascot Awards in 2023, because all 17 of these whiskeys earned a platinum or double platinum medal from me. And if you stick around until the end of the video, I got some whiskeys on this list that are allocated and special that didn't do so well blind. But before we start going through the list of the whiskeys I awarded platinum and double platinum medals to, let's first talk about a platinum award-winning cereal. It's today's video sponsor, Magic Spoon. Magic Spoon is delicious. Magic Spoon is the high-protein, keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, wheat-free, naturally flavored, totally delicious, childlike cereal for grown-ups. Nostalgia, by definition, is a sentimental longing or wistful affection for the past, typically for a period or a place with happy personal associations. This is nostalgia in a box. This Magic Spoon cereal, the fruity flavor, 13 grams of protein, 0 grams of sugar, and only 4 grams of net carbs. Magic Spoon is so magical and so special, not David Blaine, nor David Copperfield, or the David who defeated Goliath with a tiny pebble could possibly come up with what Magic Spoon did and put into this box to rock my socks. Click on my link in the description below, or scan the QR code on the screen, use code ADHD at checkout, and you'll save $5 off your variety box. The variety box is a box that you build yourself. I adore the oatmeal cookie. I love the fruity. The cocoa got me loco. But don't get overwhelmed. There's plenty of time to try all the flavors. I feel like I could be on a billboard for Magic Spoon. Just eating it. Now that we talked about Magic Spoon, let's talk about other things that are delicious, like these whiskeys that I awarded personally platinum and double platinum medals for the Ascot Awards this year. We will start with the whiskeys that I awarded a platinum medal to, and then we'll work our way up to the double platinum winners. And then after that is all said and done, I'll run down the list of allocated or special bottles that did poorly, or not as good as I thought that they would. For the Ascots, I tasted and scored 96 samples. I didn't do them all in one sitting, but I did do the entire category in one sitting. Like 10613, a blind sample that fell in the category of single barrel bourbon up to 10 years old. The only information that was supplied to judges other than the category was its proof, and this one came in at 54.3% ABV. So all of the bourbons that fell into the single barrel bourbon up to 10 years, I tasted together and scored them together. And this sample, 10613, did receive a score of 90 from me, which is the lowest score it could receive, but also earn my platinum medal recommendation. With a score of 90, this is from the Rabbit Hole Distillery, and it is High Gold Single Barrel Cask Strength Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Next up on the list, also earning a score of 90 from me, which is a recommendation for a platinum medal, is the only bottle that I found locally since receiving these results that I purchased. It's around a $60 bottle. It was in the 6 to 10-year-old small batch bourbon category. It's 100 proof. It's Ben Holiday bottled in bond. Whew. That boy right there. I purchased it and I love it. Ben Holiday, great job. Next up on the list, also receiving a score of 90 from me, which is a recommendation for a platinum medal, is something the majority of us have tasted before. This is one of the big brands that actually did really well. This 100 proof offering was in the single barrel bourbon up to 10-year category. Was it a special barrel that they sent? Who in the heck knows? But maybe they've done that in the past a time or two. We may have to ask Fred Minnick what he thinks about Henry McKenna 10-year bottled in bond, receiving a score of 90 from me. Next on the list, receiving the same score, 90 from me, which is, by the way, the low cutoff between gold and platinum. An 89 would be a gold, a 90 would be a platinum. So it's kind of like what I would consider to be a low platinum, bordering on gold. This was sample number 12517. It is an American rye whiskey 100 proof. This is from Campari. It's Wilderness Trail Rye, receiving a recommendation for a platinum medal from me. Shiza. The next sample I have is what some people would consider to be a color of night. That's a color of nighttime right there. I have had a sample of this sent to me in the past, but when I tasted this, it was totally blind. Just like the previous ones I mentioned, this also received a score of 90. It fell in the category of small batch bourbon, 6 to 10 years, finished in secondary oak. This is 67.7% ABV and was like drinking extra thick, super dark, super high proof whiskey. And I friggin' dug it a lot, I dag it. This is from 13th Colony. It's their double oak bourbon whiskey, which I know a lot of you out there are going nutty about, like a bunch of friggin' chipmunks. 13th Colony, I dig your stuff, man. We're moving up the ladder with a score of 92. This was in a special barrel finished rye category. It told me the finish, Madeira rum, 90 proof. It's from the Sweet Amber Distilling Co. Amber, by the way, is my hall pass. If you know, you know. My wife chose an NBA basketball player. I chose her friend Amber. This is Rye the Lightning Blackened Double Cask Finished Kentucky Straight Rye Whiskey. That is a mouthful. Let's ride the lightning right now, shall we? America. Wow. Hello, Amber. How are you this evening? You smell very nice. Oh, wow. That is, yeah. Wow. That did all sorts of stuff in my mouth. I like it. That is good. That is very good. Moving along. Also receiving a score of 92. This fell in the single barrel bourbon up to 10-year category. 52.75 ABV. It is from Running Bear Spirits Limited Liability Corporation. It is the Tabby Road Single Barrel Bourbon Boot Camp Edition. Now keep in mind, the single barrels that I'm talking about that are in here, who in the heck knows what Running Bear Spirits LLC has up their sleeve with other single barrel products, but this one, the Tabby Road Single Barrel Bourbon Boot Camp Edition, really damn good. So if their other single barrels are at this quality, then hells yeah. It just says up to 10 years old. So I don't know, it could be 2, it could be 10. But I would like a bottle to drink some again, if you know what I'm saying. Also receiving a score of 92 from me, which is my recommendation for a platinum medal, is from Luxco. It's a 58.6% ABV Rossville Union Barrel Proof Straight Rye Whiskey, which is in the American Rye Whiskey category. Really damn good. Next up is sample 10421. This is a small batch bourbon, 6 to 10 years old, 53.5% alcohol. This I awarded a score of 92 as well. It is Kentucky Senator Spirits LLC. It's Kentucky Senator Bourbon John G. Carlisle release. I don't know what release that is. Is that a normal release or a limited release or a special release? Or like when they release doves at like some ceremony? Or when they release O.J. Simpson for not murdering his wife? And that one guy who we forget about but also got whacked. And I'm not talking about Jeffrey whacked. I'm talking about... So I don't know much about this release at all. It's a small batch bourbon from 6 to 10 years old, but apparently I friggin' liked it a lot. Good job, Senator. Next up, 10628. This is a single barrel bourbon up to 10 years old. 61% ABV, which is 122 proof. It is from Spirits of the USA LLC Legends Single Barrel Bourbon, earning a score from me of 93, which is a recommendation for a platinum medal. Legends Single Barrel Bourbon. Wow. Oh, wow. Barrel char and a tinge of smoke on there. Yeah, that is one hell of a single barrel. It's hard for me though to recommend my audience, my viewers, you, yes you, to run out and buy these single barrel products, because I don't know if the single barrels that are out there from these companies are representative of what I'm tasting, or if what I'm tasting, thinking back on it, which makes more sense, is representative of their other single barrel offerings. I just don't know. I don't know what the truth is. All I'm telling you is what I'm tasting from what I was sent blind. Just saying, this is legit. Moving along. Sample 10413, small batch bourbon, 6 to 10 years old, 104 proof. 10413 received a score from me of 94, which is the top of platinum. 95 would have been a double platinum. 94 is like the highest platinum score I can give. This is 2XO, the Phoenix blend. The only confusion I have on this sample is the fact that it's in the small batch bourbon 6 to 10 year category. I would feel more comfortable if this were in a secondary oaked or a secondary barreled or a finished bourbon category. I think that's where this belongs, not in the small batch bourbon category. But we do know that the minimum age of Dixon Deadman's 2XO Phoenix blend, there's no whiskey in that blend younger than 6 years old, because if there were, it would not be in this category. 2XO Phoenix blend, knocking on the door of a double platinum, but with a score of 94 from me, I recommended a platinum medal for it. Next up, sample 10622. This is a single barrel bourbon up to 10 years old, 57.8% ABV. 10622 is from Whiskey Thief Distilling Co. Whiskey Thief Distilling Single Barrel 23, Rainfall Down. Whatever in the fudge that means business, because this was one hell of a single barrel. And that is my first recommendation for a double platinum whiskey. This earned a score of 95, which is almost the highest score I awarded anything. The highest score I awarded anything in this competition was a 96. Whiskey Thief, Rainfall Down. Next up is 10619, single barrel bourbon up to 10 years old. Another single barrel. This one is 100 proof, receiving a score of 95 from me, and my recommendation for a double platinum medal. This is from Kings County Distillery. It is single barrel straight bourbon whiskey number 2022. And I tasted it earlier and delicious. So damn good. But again, it's a single barrel, so who knows what's out there with Kings County's name on it? Are they all gonna be double platinum worthy? Anyway, Kings County single barrel number 2022 received my recommendation for a double platinum. Whew. Sample 10616, single barrel bourbon up to 10 years. This is another single barrel product. What on God's green planet? 76% ABV. What in Wilma Flintstone's Wonder Pants is that? 76%, 10616. Okay. I poured this earlier to double check that I liked it a lot, and turns out friggin' loved it. I didn't realize it was 152 proof? What? Are you dicking me with a double-sided donkey? This is from Journeyman Distillery, Featherbone Bourbon Cask Strength Single Barrel. I gave it a score of 95 with a recommendation for a double platinum. Wow, is that just... I want to reach out to Journeyman Distillery with my gentlest of hands. They're tiny and harmless. Just reach out and say, if you have an extra bottle of this single barrel lying around, whichever single barrel it is, because it doesn't specify. It just says cask strength single barrel. If you have a spare, I will spare some change and lots of dollars to get one, because just the nose is friggin' crazy. It smells like all the wonderful things a tiny boy would dream of, all the chocolates that Willy Wonka could make, and all the sex that Pam Anderson could tape. Wow. It is a full-flavored mother humper, but you would never guess it's 152 proof by tasting it. The proof is in the pour. Trademarked. Nobody ever used that phrase. If you do, I'll sue you. And you will virtually go broke. Proof is in the pour. That's mine. That's all mine now. I mean, it's always been mine. But damn, that Journeyman Distillery friggin' Featherbone Bourbon Cask Strength Single Barrel, 152 proof, bonkers good. 3 left. Next up, 106.25, 122 proof. 106.25 is from Old Road Craft Spirits, earning a score of 95 points, which is my recommendation for a double platinum medal. Barrel King Straight Bourbon Batch number 42. I have a bunch of Barrel King on my bar here, which isn't even a bar, it's just a friggin' Walmart shelf. But listen, I love Barrel King, I love Jared, I love Rachel, but I tasted this sample 100% totally blind. I had no idea what it was, but when I saw that it was Barrel King and I gave it a score of 95 with a recommendation for a double platinum medal, which it received, I was so thrilled to see that it was Barrel King. Double friggin' platinum. There are only 2 whiskeys out of 96 samples that scored above the 95. And they are sample 10615, which is a single barrel bourbon up to 10 years old. This one coming in at 57.5% ABV. This is from Rocktown Distillery, which Trev Wilson, the Bourbon Wrench, definitely check out the Bourbon Wrench on YouTube and subscribe to his channel. He talks about Rocktown a lot, and I've never had it before, but I had it blind, and this Column Still Collection Single Barrel Straight Bourbon earned a score from me of 96 points and my recommendation for a double platinum medal. Rocktown friggin' rockin' it. And then last, but certainly not least, because it also earned a score from me of 96 points, is a Special Barrel Finished Rye at 52.5% ABV. I absolutely loved this. This is from Buzzard's Roost. It used to be called Peated Barrel Rye, but they switched the name. Now it's called Buzzard's Roost Smoked Barrel Rye. They peat smoke a friggin' barrel and then age rye in it. 96 points, double platinum recommendation from me. Even if you don't like peated whiskey, I have a feeling that the Buzzard's Roost Smoked Barrel will kind of like nudge you in the direction of liking it, because it's not like overly aggressively peaty, it's just friggin' delicious. I'm 45 minutes into recording this video. Son of a bitch. But if you've made it this far, you probably want to know the whiskeys that I tasted blind that you would think would score higher, but didn't. E.H. Taylor Small Batch from Buffalo Trace earned my recommendation for a gold medal with a score of 89, which is good. It's still damn good. One of, if not my favorite, $100-ish bourbon on the market from Luxco Rebel 10 Single Barrel Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey earned a score from me of 88 points, which was my recommendation for a gold medal. 1792 Small Batch, score of 87, gold medal. Penelope Tokahashi Cask Finish, score of 86. 97 proof from Sazerac and Buffalo Trace, Weller Single Barrel Bourbon in 84. Now Kings County did really well with their single barrel product, but when I tasted their bottled and bond straight bourbon whiskey, it earned a score of 80 from me, which is the minimum score for a gold medal. If you've been watching the channel for a while, this won't come as a surprise to you, but Distillery 291 and Frey Ranch had multiple samples in various categories that I did not award medals to. I think that does it for all notable stuff that I should have mentioned. I think that about covers it. So in the comments below, if any of the stuff that I talked about being super good, if you've had their products and you really like them or really dislike them, based off your experience, let me know. Are some of these single barrels just honey barrels that they sent? Or is it like a small glimpse into the bigger picture of what these distilleries are capable of and are doing daily? The reason I wanted to make this video is because if you go into a whiskey store or a liquor store in general, and you go to the whiskey section, you see just friggin' shelves and shelves and shelves full of whiskeys you've never heard of. You don't know what's good and what's bad. Having judged these totally blind and being pretty tough on my scoring, my eyes are now open to some distilleries that I wouldn't have even taken a second glance at before tasting these. If I start purchasing things from these distilleries and they turn out to be not good, then I will make a video saying, guess what? They sent a honey barrel, bought another product from them, and it's bad. I'm not afraid to do that. I will give you credit where credit is due. Some of these single barrel offerings were friggin' phenomenal, but double-edged sword, if you know what I'm saying. If I go out and spend my hard-earned money on different single barrels or different products from that distillery and they turn out to be not good or even bad, then guess what? The turntable will spin in the opposite direction. And you can't be mad about that, because that's just me continuing to be the most honest reviewer I can be. I don't know. This was a fun video. It's not very often that I get to open up people's eyes to new distilleries, but hopefully that's kind of what happened today. If you liked the video, please hit the thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, you glorious bitch. My name is Matt, this is ADHD Whiskey, and like I always say, keep your head in the clouds, but your mind on saying good things when things are meant to be said. Saying good things when things that are good should be said about people, places, or things that have deserved the credit, at least in the meantime, for being deserving of good things to be said. That doesn't make sense.